Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Board Game Geek Show for April 26, 2019. I am your host, Scott Alden, and once again, I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts, Steph, Hodge, Lincoln Damerst, and W. Eric Martin. How's everybody doing?
Hi. Doing well. How are you?
Doing great.
Doing well. Almost matching
Doing
the
good. I
walls.
got a little bit of a cold, but I'll get over it. 2 colds this year. I'm keeping track.
Oh.
So we had a team meeting last week, and we discussed lots of stuff. The future Board Game Geek and the future of things. One thing I will mention on today's show in just 2 minutes' time. But first, I wanted to talk about BGG Spring. And the tickets are still available for BGG Spring, which happens over Memorial Day weekend at the DFW Hyatt Regency. And we'd love to see you there.
It's coming up really soon.
Because all of us will be there. Yeah, and I just posted up an announcement about our annual spring cleaning sale, which we will be cleaning out about 1,000 board games from the BGG back storage and selling them to you for a very cheap price. And I think you will probably find some good games in there and even some great games. So hopefully you can join us at the BGG Spring Game Convention in May. Check the link for tickets down in the description below. We'll put a link there.
Absolutely.
We'd love to see you, and we're going to have the Spiel des Jahres games again, all laid out for you to learn and play all weekend. It's going to be awesome.
Whatever those might be.
I think I got to play them all last year, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's a great way to play all the games and make your opinions known to the judges who actually vote on this thing. So, and they are watching and listening, I think, to everybody's responses, and it's weighing in on their decision of what to vote for. But hopefully you'll be able to do that with us. And moving on to another announcement, the Origins 2019 preview will be released on Monday, May 6th. And Eric, why don't you talk about that a little bit?
So at the end of April, I will ask publishers for the titles that they will be selling and demoing at Origins 2019, which sort of kicks off the convention season in a little more fervor, I would say. Lots of people start debuting games that will be released at Gen-Con and Spiel. So Origins itself doesn't have much in the way of new releases, but there's lots there you can test. And we will have a preview of all those games with a link on the front page of Board Game Geek. So maybe a couple hundred games listed there. With one new addition on the Origins preview, which we'll talk about more when that preview is released.
But I'm going to spoil it right now, Eric, because I just said I would. Yeah. So the Origins preview will feature a new feature. Will debut with a new feature. What we're calling the Convention Pre-Order Pickup System. And that is exactly what it sounds like. It is a way for you to pre-order games that you want to buy and pick up at that convention. So we have been speaking to a number of publishers, and they're all very thrilled to be part of the new system. And I've talked to people who buy games at conventions, and they're very excited to be able to have sort of a one-stop shop to buy stuff and pre-order to pick up at the convention. So hopefully you pre-order all your stuff, you make your payment, you go there the first day, pick up all the games, then you spend the rest of the convention playing them. Sounds like a good deal, right?
Sure does.
Less hassle, which is great.
That is free to you as a consumer. And then basically we will facilitate that order, and hopefully it will be a very smooth process. People that take part in this system, we'd love to hear your feedback after the first convention, because we're going to push that into Gen Con and Essen and who knows what else convention. Also a pre-order pickup for BGG.CON through the Essen Games Caravan, I think we're calling it, from Fun Again. So that's going to be exciting too. So you'll be able to pre-order games and pick them up at BGG.CON in the fall from the Fun Again Caravan, we're calling it.
The Origins 2019 preview will not start with many pre-orders on it, because the preview must be live in order for publishers to add games that are available for pre-order. So you may not see a lot initially when the preview goes live on May 6th, but they will add them over time, and they set their own pre-order prices, how many they're going to have for sale, and the beginning and end dates. So that's all managed by the publishers themselves, not by BGG directly. So if you want to see something on pre-order, you can ask them.
Right, so those will come in probably in the first week after we debut it.
That'll start 1 week after we debut?
Yeah, it'll probably come in like within the week of after we debut it, right? Like as people have time to put in the data. All right. I think that's it for conventions. Of course, I think I'm shocked, there's still a few BGG.CON tickets remaining. Under 50 or 40 or something like that last I checked. So if you want to come to BGG.CON in the fall, the last 30 or 40 tickets is still there. So make those purchases soon. Otherwise, it's going to be waitlist time for you. And obviously, the spring convention's wide open. Lots of tickets remaining there. All right, so we'll move on to everybody's favorite segment. What have you been playing? Lincoln Damerst, what have you been playing?
I got to play Big Trouble in Little China with Scott, Aldi, and Nikki, and that game is fantastic. It's a dungeon crawl, essentially, with lots of really fun elements, especially if you love the movie, because holy cow, everything's in there. We did not see all of the storms, is that they are called, Scott?
Yeah, the storms, the elemental storms.
Yeah, we only saw...
They're the bad guys, basically.
Thunder or lightning?
We saw thunder and lightning, and of course Lopan.
Lopan, yeah, it was really great. I got to play Jack Burton.
Jack, yeah.
That's it. Tells you how much I love the movies. No, I love them.
How could you forget? Who? You say who?
Yeah,
Me,
exactly.
Jack Burton.
It was so great, and the minis are fantastic, and the art is great. It really is really, really well done, and it's really a big game. Lots of stuff going on. We were fortunate enough to play a version of the game that was fully painted, so we had a really great time.
Yeah, the painted figures definitely add a lot to it, and we all completed our quests. So there's 2 stages to the game, right?
You were thinking you weren't going to make it. Yours was a long quest. It
was very close. It was one step away from, or I think it was Nikki. We weren't sure if she was going to make it. Or was it me?
She did just fine. I thought yours was a long quest. Lots of little stages you had to take care of. I just like how it feels like you're really in that, environment. There's a lot of going around and trying to do stuff. The only odd thing I thought about was that you kind of broke up your team to do things. Your quests were kind of sort of independent, but you could get help from other players that, only it was their efforts were through your eyes. But it was still really cool. There was the one, I think I went to the brothel or whatever and was dressed up as the nerdy guy, and that was my quest. It was great.
Yeah, it has also like a branching story path, or you can make decisions that change the outcome of the quest. Right, some things are easier, some things are harder. You get more rewards if you take the harder path.
And it was lots of quoting the movie. And I think we were playing the soundtrack by the end of the game.
Yes, we had the soundtrack going. That was quite fun. Yeah.
What have you been playing, Eric?
What I've been playing in preparation for Gen Con, I can't even fit this box in my camera here. Black Angel, coming from Pearl Games, debuting at Gen Con. It's by the same designers as Toi, Xavier Georges, Alain Orban, and Sébastien Dujardin. It's a game for 2 to 4 players, actually 1 to 4. There's a solo option I haven't tried yet. And the short description is Toi in space. The longer description
is Toi in space.
Will take much, much longer. It's definitely going to be my longest preview video that I do, because the game has a lot going on where you are trying to manage your dice, which you can assign to 6 actions or missions in order to take particular functions during the game. Which is going to give you advanced technology, or you're going to play missions into space, or you're going to activate missions, or you're going to repair damage on the Black Angel ship, which you are all controlling together in a sense, or attack the Ravagers, who are some alien race that's attacking you and causing damage. So there's all this stuff going on and all these little actions, but everything kind of merges together, and it initially is a ball of confusion because you have no idea what to do or what's going to happen in relation to something, like how things carry on from one action to the next. But as I got to the end of the 4th game, right, everything started coming together more game after game after game, and you sort of can plan and see how things come together. So there's a lot going on. I played 1 game with Steph, so I don't know if she wants to chime in here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely got that Troy's feeling, as you say, in Selenia, with the board is spinning around and the ship is moving forward through space, so that's cool. You can definitely see the mechanics that Sébastien has liked to use in his previous games, so it definitely will take more than 1 play. I just played it once, and so I haven't quite got to the combining everything. I was just sitting there like, so many options.
Yeah, initially you're just like pushing a button, and then you push another button and push another one. And eventually, like a few turns down the line, you sort of see how things come together. But it takes a while. And as you put missions on the board, some of them you are aiming to activate later, but the main ship is moving through space, and so it will leave the missions behind because you're sort of setting up stations in the middle of space, and then you just travel on, and they may pass off, forgotten, unable, you can't do anything with them anymore. So you have to try to plan ahead, but to activate a mission, maybe you have to give up robots or technology or do other things or resources. Resources is the general term for it. And just give up all this stuff. So how are you going to make all this happen as the turns compile together while people are stealing your dice?
And the Black Angel's getting all this damage, so you have to manage that as well. So there's lots of things to really think about and to optimize your movements.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. And it's kind of amazing to see because the first 3 games I played all were kind of the same with tons of damage, lots of things being unavailable. And then the 4th game, we had almost none of that. And it was delightful to see this kind of the range of gameplay. And it's kind of amazing. It took me to game 4 to see that. So I don't know whether we were all playing really stupidly to begin with. And then by game 4, we I was the only constant throughout all the 4 of those games. So we finally got to see how it worked, and we kept an eye on things, and the ship didn't get damaged. I don't know. There's a ton going on. Still want to try the solo game, and then I'm interested to see how people take this. It's got a great table presence.
Man, sure does.
Oh my gosh, the colors are amazing.
Yeah.
It's so photogenic.
Cool just because it stood out and people kept seeing me playing and being like, what is this? What is this? Like, publishers need
neon
something
pink. It's amazing.
that is going to grab people's eye and be, at least draw them to the table to begin with. So there's that.
So it's not cooperative, but you have to cooperate to survive the game, or does everybody lose at some point?
No, it's not cooperative at all. It's just the actions you take, if you pile up damage on them, become less effective, and then the damage starts piling up on the dice. So when you draft new dice to roll them into your particular area, you may take damage from the dice that are sitting there with damage on them. I mean, you want to collect damage, like you clear away the damage and it turns into debris that you can then use to activate technology. I guess you take the scrap metal and everything and wield it into tools, or I don't know, do something with that in order to get this technology.
Yeah, so it might be a little bit cooperative in that, or like you want to help the ship, but you're really helping yourself because whatever you're clearing from the ship is a benefit for you. So you want to do that, but you don't want to like really help the next player also. So you have to like figure out what's best for you.
Except I can see certain circumstances where you don't want to clear it because the game ends, either the Ravagers essentially take over the ship because you run through the entire deck and the game ends that way, or you reach your home planet. And there's 2 different scoring conditions depending on which one of those happens. And of course, if the ship's all messed up, then you can't do certain things as well, which may serve your purpose, depending on whether you are trying to get lots of technology or complete missions. Those are the main ways that you're getting points there. So you could be pulled in different directions. But yeah, it's not co-op at all.
Is this the year of the French space theme game?
Is there another one?
Ganymede, the one from Ludonaut.
Yes, that's true. The giant one there.
Apparently, yes. I sense a theme coming down resin. Is that a Gen Con release, the Black Angel?
Yep, for Gen Con. It's been in the works. I saw a comment by Alain Orban. It's been in the works for 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah, they just work and develop like crazy. And it's definitely, they're one of those companies. They're actually a Belgian company, which, like Repo Production, has the same sort of reputation where they will just keep something in development for years until they are finally happy with it. So they want to make sure it's perfect for what they want. So, Scott, you want to talk about your long game you played?
I would love to. It was like 5 hours. We thought it was going to be 1.
Yeah, mine were only 2.
Wow.
2.5.
It did say 60 minutes on the box.
It said 60 minutes, and that's what was told to us by Brian Bornmueller from Fantasy Flight Games. It is the Lord of the Rings Journey. What is it? Journeys in Middle Earth. So to separate it from all of the other Lord of the Rings games, you have Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle Earth, which is a multiplayer cooperative adventure game with an app, much like Mansions of Madness.
Yeah.
Second edition. Yeah. So imagine if you have a group of people, and we don't actually know what we're supposed to do yet, right? We're kind of just journeying, and like,
right.
It gives you like a very little quest, like go harvest the mushrooms or clear the bandits out of this farm, right? They're raiding the farm. And then as we were doing that, we uncovered a more bigger sort of sinister plot of orcs in the Shire, which was like very like not very common, right? So something's up. So it was really fun. We played 4 players, and we each had like a main character. There's a couple extra characters that I don't recognize, and maybe they're in some kind of book, but I don't know it. But of course, we played the main characters. We had Legolas.
Yay!
Gimli.
Yay!
I played
Bilbo. We were
Bilbo.
counting how many orcs we killed.
Yes, and we had Aragorn. Or no, was it Strider? I can't remember.
I think
Strider.
It was Aragorn.
Aragorn.
Or maybe
so
it was
those were our
Strider.
4
I don't
characters.
know. It's the same guy. Come on.
Hey, Strider, Aragorn. One's a king, one's a regular dude. So, yeah, it was really fun. I enjoyed like every minute of it, even though it was kind of a long process.
I was happy I stayed up, but I remember I was like, I could do this. It's an hour.
Yeah, it was 1 hour, starting at 11 p.m. Like, yeah, 3 a.m. We're like, okay, we're finished. It wasn't that bad.
It's great, though. It really is great.
Yeah, it's super evocative, and it's got a sort of random element to it. Like Brian was saying, that the app will give you random encounters in a game, along with the main storyline parts, right? So it like you'll never get the same experience twice. Unfortunately, we were not successful in tracking down what we needed to do in the first episode.
We were close, though.
We were so close. It was like one turn away.
But we played hard. We played it on the hardest.
And we played on the hard difficulty. We actually had a death. And they have a really great mechanic called like The Last Stand, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Where you have a chance to kind of like heal and fight on. Really cool mechanic. We did not finish it, or we didn't solve it, but it pushes you to the second mission anyway. So you don't have to replay the mission.
But
which I thought was cool. You could probably restart to get a perfect game. And I don't know if that game, the first mission is very easily solved, because I saw another group playing it on normal, and they did not finish the mission as well. They had just been they weren't even close. We were way closer than them. They blamed the bear cubs that they got. There was some kind of thing with bear cubs, which they got distracted by bear cubs. We did not have bear cubs in our game, so that's one of those random elements that basically can pop up. So yeah, it's really cool. How else to explain it, Lincoln? It's like there's a lot of skill checks in the game, right? You're like turning cards over. Instead of rolling dice, it's a card deck system, so you sort of can deck build or strip out the bad cards. And there's a lot of deck manipulation, a lot of special abilities. There's some cool. You could turn your inspiration into successes, stuff like that.
It's because your special powers come from the deck that you're using.
Yeah, the special powers come from the deck, and you can store them.
You look at a few and you choose, and you put the other one back in the deck. So that's part of the deck building element.
So it has enough crunchiness for like stats people, and then enough lore for me. Like I like a little bit of both. I like crunchy numbers, and I like the lore and the story, and I get the feeling that I'm really doing it. Doing what it's saying. There was some music in the background too. I didn't hear it that much. We had it kind of low. But there's sound effects, and the combat system is very nicely handled in the app. What else is there to say?
Wow, I really want to play this.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big success for them. Based on Mansions of Madness system is already a big success. So this just...
And I love Mansions of Madness, so Lord of the Rings is such a better theme anyway. It's just, I want to play it.
It's more of a theme. I love both themes. Mansions of Madness 2 has some issues for me. I feel like there's too much random dice rolling, but...
Sure.
This one is obviously it's the same system, so there is a lot of randomness, but it's still fun.
Is there any dice though in the game? We didn't see them.
No, Mansions of Madness has dice. Mansion Madness 2.
Right. Second edition.
But this is it's randomness through a deck, but you get to control it, right? You can control your deck and make sure that you can, through deck manipulation, you can set it up so that you will have successes. And then, of course, some randomness with the deck. But, yeah, it's really cool. Most of the stuff we did was all outdoors, but there are some indoor adventuring. I saw the map tiles, so it's a combination. And I can foresee many expansions here. Lord of the Rings. I mean, it's not canon. I don't know when what the setting is. Someone more Lord of the Ringsy could tell me what it is, but it has lots of cool potential. So check that out. Fantasy Flight. It's released. We were actually waiting for the app to be released. Like, we had the game in hand because Brian had brought one early release from Fantasy Flight, and we had to wait till the App Store released the app to play it. It is not playable without that app. So be aware of that.
That's right. Well, it's supposed to be one of the selling points, though, is that you can...
It handles a lot of stuff. Like, it really... The combat... Like, I thought the combat system was super smooth. Didn't you, Lincoln?
Absolutely.
Like, it was really cool. Out of all the combat systems I've ever played, I think, it kept track of the hits. It tells you how much damage you take. Really, really nice. So
you select which group you're attacking, then they attack you. Really, really well done.
Yeah, for sure. That was Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle-earth. Or Journey. Is it Journeys? Journeys. Multiple. There are going to be multiple Journeys in Middle-earth, apparently. Right. Yeah, so. Steph, what have you been playing?
I got to play a game called Hadara, and I'm pretty sure everybody has played it in this podcast.
Yes, we have. It's good.
Yep.
And they all mentioned it a little bit before, but I just need to reiterate how amazing it is because I just got to play it, and oh man, it's right up my alley. It's like a 45-minute Civ builder type game in the realm of Seven Wonders, but it's different because you're drafting cards, which will later then be, being drafted by other players as well, or you might be able to collect a card that you discard later on. I mean, you are building up your tableau, and you get discounts for those same colors that you have already have in play, and just all these different things that are happening, and it's, I don't know, it's so good. I like it.
It really is great.
And the colors are bold and bright, and it's so beautiful. And so that's coming from Hans and Glück and Z-Man, I believe, soon, if it's not already out in Europe.
I think it's actually being released now, yeah, so within a few weeks.
Out in Europe, and I think it's June, due out in the U.S.
I played it, I learned it, and then I'm like, I need to play this again, so we literally just played it again right there. And I don't really do that. I don't play games back-to-back like that. So for me to do that is just like, wow.
I played it 6 times.
That's a lot.
In a week time. Yeah, that's a lot for me, for sure.
That is a lot for you.
Yes.
I mean, no, Scott will like hone in on a game and just want to do that.
I focus in on some games for sure, but it's rare, right? Like, it'll be like one game a year, 1 or 2 games a year that I focus in on. But that one, I immediately had a liking of it, and played it many, many times. And really do enjoy it. I think it's got a very good engine, right? It's a smooth game, right? You draft a card. The card you reject goes back up on the pile, and you may be able to draft that again in the future. Or trash it, right? You can trash cards, too, for money.
Yeah, to get the coins.
So, I think in one game I had a really strong food strategy, right? Like, my food was getting very... You have to feed your citizens, of course, being a Civ game.
Yes.
I had my food up pretty high, so I was trashing all the big food cards. Right, so making it sort of painful for the other players to
get food. Yeah, that makes sense because a little bit of drafting there.
It wasn't like on purpose, but it was like, well, I don't need this big food, right? Why should I take? If I'm not taking it, nobody should take it.
Right, because you're going to select from every category.
Right, you get one choice from every. What do you call that? Discipline
in Phase A.
Yeah.
Phase B, you might select something else entirely the whole time. I mean, you had one of the games a tremendous amount of money. I thought you were going to be unstoppable.
Yeah, so I took different strategies every time I played. I'm like, okay, I want a big war, or I want a big culture, or I want a lot of money, or a lot of food. Tried all of them.
Yeah.
So, coins, getting a lot of coins and money in the game is very strong.
It's very strong.
Because you can afford the prices escalate as the game goes forward, and if you have the money, it's like makes it way easier to buy the really expensive stuff.
Yeah, you don't want to get behind on that money. Like, always buy that yellow card in that first round because you need it.
You do. Now, there was a whole nother part of the game on the backside of the starting cards was B-sides, right? which I did not see any of those, so I don't know what's all about that. I assume it's more drastic changes in the starting hands.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not drastic at all. It's just a different...
Oh, it's just a different mix? Okay.
It's just a different mix. So
there was one that was like 4-1-1-4. So 4...
Yeah, you could really specialize maybe with that one.
Yeah.
4 gold, 1...
So very little war, very little culture.
1 war, 1 culture.
Yeah. But what's cool is like there's so many different like tech cards, which is the purple. And so like you're never going to have the same game, because I was like looking for a purple card that I knew I played in the previous game, and that wasn't there that game. So I was like,
Right. Yeah, so that's the variety of the play, right? The special abilities and the special purple cards.
Yeah, which is really cool.
But all the other cards will be there. Well, in a smaller number of player game, not all those cards.
Not all the cards. I only played 3 players for 3 games.
Okay.
So I don't know how it plays with 5 or 2 or 4.
I think it only goes up to 4, doesn't it?
No, it goes to 5.
Wow.
5, yeah.
This goes right in like my collection. It's gonna be right there, like on the shelf right behind me soon.
I think it will do well.
I know it will.
So you also played Escape Plan?
Oh my gosh, I did.
Do you want to talk about that?
I can. This is a big game. So Lacerda, his games are not really my wheelhouse. Like, it's not really like I get drawn to them. But this one has such a cool theme that I'm like, all right, I really want to try this. Because we are all robbers, and we robbed a bank, or we robbed somewhere, we got lots of money, hid this stash all over the city. And now we're all trying to make it out of the city with as much money as we can. So it is a competitive game where we're trying to leave the city with the most money.
Okay.
So we are competing, which is cool, even though we might have done the job together. But you really only have 9 actions in the whole game. Much like Vinhos that way, except you might be able to get some extra actions along the way, but so I didn't really go for that, even though obviously thinking about it now, 9 actions is not that many, so any extra action would be like incredible, right? So you really need to plan around what you can do and how to get to one location, and you have to avoid or evade the cops at the different locations whenever you leave a tile. So you have different goals. Like, I might visit the casino and I might get money differently than my neighbor would at the casino. So we all have these hidden goals, like where should we hit to get the most money?
Okay. You're not doing the robbery again, though, right? It's already, the robbery's like already done. Now you're
correct.
Just picking up
so now we're
money.
just trying to grab that money and go.
Okay, but it's not cooperative.
It is not cooperative. No.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I thought it was a cooperative game, being a escape the cops kind of game, like a Grand Theft Auto.
No, so
you don't care about
it. Actually, no, exactly. So you're like, if you get this action to move a cop, you're like, all right, go move it to them, go get them.
Right.
Get out of my area. So this game was very big. I mean, so now having played it, I know I could go in and teach it. It's actually very smooth and easy. Like, for a Lacerda game, it's like, wow, okay, I could go back and play and teach it right now and be fine. Like, I couldn't do that with Lisboa. Like, I could not. But learning from the rulebook was a bit of a slog. I mean, it's like 24 or 26 pages, and we're like, ugh. So it like took a long time to learn from the rules. But once we got going, it was like, oh yeah, this is like easy, no problem.
And it was like, I think I watched you play it for several hours, right? Like,
yeah, I was sitting at that table for 5 hours. So
yeah, okay.
But the game is really not that long. I know. I'm surprised that I got through it and I really liked it as much as I did, because a 5-hour experience really has to be a good one for me to be like, yeah, that's great. Because I like the 45 to hour minute games. Like, that's like. But this one was really good. And I think if I go back and play it with the same people, or even people who played it, it will be under a 2-hour game. It will be like 90 minutes. Like, it's very easy once you know it. So, and that's good.
Got it. Cool. Everybody got their gaming fixes in? Anything else to talk about?
Lots of roll and rights. Dizzle.
Yes. Oh my gosh. We played 50 roll and rights last week. Yeah.
All the roll and rights.
So many roll and rights.
I love it. Roll and right heaven.
I thought Dizzle was great.
I like Dizzle.
Dizzle was cool. I like that there's a progression in Dizzle. So, like, the first game was okay for me. The second game was like, okay, now I'm seeing something. So I want to go back and play the third and the fourth, different levels.
Right. I know, Lincoln, you like Silver and Gold quite a bit.
I do. I really like Silver and Gold.
My favorite was Cartographers.
I didn't play that one.
Oh, so good. You're, like, creating a map with the different... It's like a flip and right. So you're flipping cards, and you have to make your little map. And it's like Isle of Skye with the different scoring. So you have your scoring A, B, C, D. And then you'll score A and B, and then B and C, and so on, like that. So you're trying to plan for future rounds. It's really, really cool. That was probably my favorite.
I saw some maps played there. The filled out sheets. They look really nice.
Yes. You draw your little sigil on it. You create your title and your name and your house of Baratheon or whatever.
Right. Hey, no Game of Thrones spoilers.
I didn't say anything. I'm looking forward to Avengers this week. That's all.
Yes.
I'm going to see it today.
I can't find a ticket. I waited too long. I'm going to have to wait till next week. Yeah.
No.
I'm going to see Hamilton.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
Yes.
Spoiler, he dies.
All right. She gets shot, right? Yeah, he gets shot. Historical spoiler. Okay.
That's right.
Eric, tell me about all these video games that are coming out. Like God of War and Bloodborne.
Yes, Simon.
Bloodborne board game, God of War card game.
A couple of years ago released Bloodborne the card game, which Eric Lang was super excited about. I remember demoing that with him at the Gamma Trade show, and he's gaga about the video game, and he was super excited to make a card game out of it. And now Simon has announced Bloodborne the board game. And at the same time, roughly, they've announced God of War the card game. And it just reinforces my complete ignorance of video games, because I have no idea what's involved here, and yet I see so many people who are incredibly excited that these things will exist. So apparently I'm missing out.
Oh, it's so exciting, actually. Well, I think the Bloodborne card game, people were slightly disappointed, because Bloodborne is like a fantasy, dark medieval fantasy adventure game, action game, and there's tons of monsters. Which means tons of minis, right? Probably, or hopefully.
Yeah.
And when the card game came out, it's like, well, where's the minis, right?
There's no minis. You did have the dealing with blood, collecting all the blood from people.
Right. No, and the game was solid, but it's like, it's a minis game. I mean, if you ask somebody like, what kind of game should Bloodborne be? Oh, tactical battle minis game, right? I mean, that's the game. That's the video game. So I'm excited for that. Now, God of War has been a mostly like Greek mythology game, right? Like lots of gods and stuff like that, where you're the god killer. You kill everybody in these games, right? So that will be interesting. No, but that's also not exciting. It's exciting, but not, because it's back to the cards with no minis, where all of the monsters in God of War are fantastical creatures, based on mythology.
Right.
Norse and Greek mythologies. So.
Okay.
Anyway, well, I'm sure it'll be great. Great artwork, I'm sure.
Maybe Simon has a self-imposed limit of one giant minis game a year.
It could be.
Last year was Cthulhu Death Must Die, which will come out this year.
Right.
Then Bloodborne.
Now it's Bloodborne.
Game. Yeah. You don't want to overwhelm
It'd be an interesting question to ask about those things.
Yeah. Or it could just be a licensing requirement. We'll let you do this right now.
Could be. 100%.
And then it succeeds, and, well, it's good. Let's do more. Who knows? All sorts of questions to ask in the future. In other news, aside from that, the Mensa Select winners were announced with Architects of the West Kingdom, Gizmos, Gunkimono, Victorian Masterminds, and Planet, which I just did an overview video of recently. And the Mind Games event, it's a weekend event where Mensa members come and they just play whatever games publishers have signed up to present. And then they choose their best out of those, voting in different categories. And those are the 5 that have won. And it's kind of interesting that over the past few years, modern hobby games have definitely become much more prominent in the award-winning circle. And I don't know whether it's just publishers now making more of an effort to get their games qualified or considered. Yeah. Renegade now has won 5 years in a row for different titles. So they've been very consistent there. I participated back in 2000 and 2001, and you would see Rio Grande Games would submit the gift titles from Chris Berm, because those were like spot on, aimed perfectly.
Yeah, those are definitely Mensa.
Yeah, I mean, Mensa, you get into Mensa by solving puzzles well. So those sort of abstract strategy games are perfect for that audience, but then other Rio Grande games wouldn't be submitted because it's not gonna qualify. So if you as a publisher can sort of pre-select the title that's perfect for them, maybe it'll work out. And while BGGers may not pay much attention to Mensa, customers in the US do. I've spoken with retailers in the past and publishers about the Mensa Select award, and that is like the award that you would want to win in the US, because regular people will pay attention to that. Regular people. I should put that in quotes. You know, if you're not a hobby gamer who's familiar with what's coming out and you're just looking on the shelves, you'll pay attention more to that just because you suspect it's good. Hey, smart people like this. So
the Mensa Select games are really cool. I mean, that was one of my early entry points into board games, actually.
Yeah, by paying attention to that symbol.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think before I knew hobby games, I remember buying Mensa games, like Octi. Remember Octi?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another perfect one for that audience.
All right, moving on to Kickstarter news. There's some big ones this week. First up, Terraforming Mars expansion called Turmoil, which is kind of an interesting one. Currently, when we started this, it was at 800,000. Now it's at 806,000 with 16,933 backers. I'm actually watching it. It's actually still ticking up right now as we speak.
Right.
So this is a big expansion. I flipped through what's in the box. It's more corporations. I can read it. 5 corporations, 16 projects, 31 global events. It's got 6 policies, which I'm not sure what those are. I guess there's some kind of voting maybe aspect to the game now.
Yeah, there's a government thing.
That's cool. I like that stuff. Global events, terraforming the committee, I guess. Yeah, so you have the committee come together. So it's getting very like
political,
civilization-esque.
Yeah, more negotiation.
Yeah. So, and that was one of the great things I liked about Twilight Imperium 3. They had like politics, right? Yeah, it was really fun. They've also included dual layer player boards so that you can track your dice, track your cubes, and a bunch of promos that will not be in the retail version, that will eventually be in the BGG store. So, yeah, that's exciting. That's a big one for this month.
That's really big.
I'm excited for it because it looks like it adds a lot to the game, the game is still great without all that stuff, but I can only imagine what it'll be like.
I was going to say, does it need all that stuff? But maybe.
It doesn't need it, right? But I think people want it.
It's cool to have the options.
Nikki wants me to back that one.
And then the second one we wanted to make note of is Oceans, which is a standalone game in the Evolution series. And Steph, you have a little bit of experience, right? You played this?
Yeah, I did play. I did get to play it. It's a nicer version of like Evolution. So
nicer in that it's friendlier. You're not eating each other as much.
No, you still are eating each other.
Okay.
But you can defend yourself better. That was my deterrent for Evolution, where it's like I couldn't really do anything about it. People were just kind of like
Yes.
So this time I could like play a card and get defense, or I could play a card and maybe kill his guy or something. Like it was easy to evolve into something better. And have your different creatures. And there's no limit to the number of creatures that you're creating. And I don't know if there was an evolution either, but it's easier to maintain them.
Well, limited by food.
Yeah. It's easier to claim the food, even though you're only feeding one creature, but some other creatures might feed off of. If that guy feeds and he gets fed and all these different things. So I think it's much more cleaner. It's much smoother game for me. And so I'm happy to play this one again and explore the deep waters.
Yeah, I saw the pieces, the little fish, pretty cool. Little fish meeple.
It's gorgeous. I love all of that.
And the artwork's great. Yeah, the artwork's really nice. I was happy to see the Apex Predator card in the game.
Yeah.
It's funny thinking about the artwork with that. I haven't looked at Oceans yet, but of course, Wingspan has gotten a lot of sort of mainstream attention because of its subject matter and artwork. Like, that's why it's being picked up by the New York Times, and I know there was like an Audubon Society article on it, just because it's got this natural focus to it. And, you know, if you do the art right, Oceans can follow along sort of in that vein. And
yeah, it's already up to 511,000 in funding with 7,867 backers. So that's pretty huge, I think.
That's excellent.
Yeah. It's big. Yeah, and we've noticed a bit of a slowdown in Kickstarter stuff. Like, it's not always... These numbers are crazy, right? But most games coming out right now are maybe under 30,000 back, 30,000 raised. So
I have not scanned through Kickstarter much anymore. I sort of left the newsletters to others, and I went and looked, and there's so many projects where it's just like 500 or under in support, and these things just sort of moping along, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's just...
That should be a topic for another day. Is the Kickstarter bubble era, golden era done, right? I mean, we're kind of coming to that 5-year mark, right? Maybe-ish. It's been 5 years.
Yeah.
Can't remember. But
more than
golden eras eventually end, right? So we have to be ready for it. Didn't the comic era, golden era, eventually end? Eric, you have expertise in this, right?
Well, it ended mostly because of the congressional imposition. Well, not imposition of the comics authority. The industry adopted that themselves once congressional people started investigating the gore in the EC comics. They kind of policed themselves, and that took it all away. Yeah, there's other factors in there.
Well, we'll do that topic next time on the Board Game Geek show.
It's hard, though, because, of course, Kickstarter just recently had a press release that talked about the success of games. It is the first category out of, I believe, 13 categories that has reached the $1 billion sale mark across all the completed projects, or completed and funded projects.
And games covers all games.
Yes.
Including video games.
Yep. Video games, role-playing games.
Tabletop is a subset of that. RPGs, obviously.
If it is slowing down, it's done a lot on the way there to the slowing down part. It might just be slowing in growth rather than actually declining. It's possible.
Yeah, I don't know how many projects are submitted.
Lots. Yeah, we need some maths to back all this stuff up. So I'm gonna look into that and see if I can calculate anything. And
you've backed most games, so you should just look at
I've backed most games.
Yes,
listing. I have. I probably have like 500 outstanding Kickstarter projects waiting to be
Oh my gosh!
In fact, when I got home this week, I have no less than 20 cardboard boxes sitting here in my hallway, waiting to be opened. It's gonna be like Christmas.
Exciting!
Christmas every day here in my family. Yes.
No wonder we're selling 1,000 games.
I know one of them is Batman.
Oh, that's got to be 20 boxes on its own.
I know. I think Batman's going to be more than one box.
Yeah, no, there's several. Yeah, several.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up another episode of the Board Game Geek Show. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you to my lovely co-hosts, Lincoln Damerst, Steph Hodge, and W. Eric Martin.
Yay!
We really appreciate all the views and thumbs and subscribing and clicking that bell so we can hear it here in Dallas. And
ding, ding, ding.
We really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
Take care, Scott.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.